I'm so glad you're joining us today. I'm Liana George, author and co-owner of Scrivenings Press, and I'm delighted to welcome back one of our most prolific Scrivenings Press authors, Deborah Sprinkle. Deborah writes layered Christian suspense filled with compelling mysteries, strong characters, and just enough relational tension to keep us guessing. Her latest release, The Case of the Other Brother, is book five. Book five, y'all, in the Mac and Sam mystery series. This one opens up at a train station with a bee sting and quickly spirals into attempted murder, a stolen manuscript, hidden identities, and long buried family secrets. I can't wait to get more detail with it, but right now, Deborah, welcome back to ScrivTalk.
Thank you, Leanna. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. So it was just, I think, October, November when the last book, the case of
Yes. Intentional
intentional
accident.
accident, yes,
Hmm.
came out. And now
Right.
here you are just a few months later, and you've got another book. Okay. So I have to ask, how do you do it? How do you write so fast?
Well, this one I had started this one before the other one was due to come out. And
Okay.
I this is not normal for me. No.
Okay.
Because usually it takes me about 9 months to a year to write a book.
Yeah.
But this I had already started this one way back, and I I don't know. I mean, it just happened. It just happened that they ended up being this close together.
Yeah.
So it makes me look like I'm just, a fast writer, but I'm not. I am not a fast writer.
Oh,
So
well, we're just glad to get another story, right? We're just happy that you are, that you
yeah,
that
but don't expect it again.
okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. Well, let's talk about this a little bit because um, people who might be just jumping into the series at book five, right?
Uh-huh.
How would
Right.
you describe the heart of the Mac and Sam series?
I think the heart and the heart and soul of the Mac and Sam series are the relationships between the people.
Okay.
Um, the group that I have written in here,
Uh-huh.
they've grown from the very first building book, which was the case of the innocent husband.
Hmm.
But if you pick up this book, you'll see the relationships between the main characters and the other characters that support them,
Hmm.
and they all come together to solve the mysteries, and they also have their own relationships that you can tell are important to the book.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the heart of the book, really,
Hmm.
is that how these relationships, what the relationships are, and also how they play into coming together and solving the mysteries.
I love that. I love that. So, do do you have to read them in order?
No, you
No.
don't. Not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
Although I think if you read, you don't have to read them in order. Although I think most people who read a series, they'll pick up one and then they think, oh, they'll see it's a series and they'll think, okay, I need to go back and read the first one.
Sure.
And I do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I do that. If I want to get into a series, I want to go to the first one and read it through.
Yeah.
And it does help because you get to know the characters from the very beginning and you
Yeah.
see how the relationships build.
Right.
But you don't have to. I mean, when you read the book, you get enough of a sense of what has happened, and you get little clues about how the relationships have built through the books.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
okay?
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's
I'm
okay.
so sorry. Yeah.
But the you get a sense of how the characters have their relationships have built. And I try very hard to remind people of who each of these characters are, especially like Miss P, that she's the retired chemistry teacher and that she taught Mac, and that's how she's kind of come into the group, and that Sam and Mac were best friends, and that's how they got into being partners in this adventure and that kind of thing. And so it's but I try very hard to remember to tell everybody in each book that's what the relationship started.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
it's
that's
hard, right?
important, and it's hard to do that
Oh, it's very hard.
without you know info dumping.
Right, info dumping, and that is very hard. It's I in one of the books I was found a clever way, which was when somebody else walked in and said, "Oh, Miss P, I remember you from high school, and and you were my cat." And so then I could do it that way.
Yeah.
But I can't do that with every book. So so it's kind of like you just have to kind of, sometimes you have to just tell them, it's like you
Right.
just have to say, you know, who it is, and that's the way it is. So
Yeah.
you just give them a little line, and that's true, this is who this
That's
is,
usually enough.
and
That's
that's
usually
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, well, it's been a great series. And so I'm looking forward to more in the series, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Mhm.
But let's talk about this story
Mhm.
because it begins, like I said a minute ago, with a bee sting, and
Right.
it just escalates from there. So how do you go from a bee sting to murder and theft? I mean, you get stung
Well,
by a bee, and that's what made you do that, or
it's funny because I what I really start with is I start thinking um about what can happen in the beginning that can uh what what can happen to Mac in the beginning that can throw her into
Mhm.
a case.
Yeah.
And so I think about what she's doing right then. So like in the case of the innocent husband, she's in the cafe and she's all upset because of what's been going on. And then her partner comes in and says, come to you've got to come to our office. There's a man there that we need to talk to." And so they head off, and that's how it gets started. In the intentional accident, she's in the historic museum,
Oh.
and she's researching the time when her parents were killed, because she's decided she's going to try and figure out what happened to them. And then the electrician is there, and he gets electrocuted, and she gets thrown into a case there. And now this time she's waiting on the train. She's waiting at the train station for her sister to get there, and from Kansas City. And some of her friends are waiting over to the side to take the same train into St. Louis. And she's looking over at him, and there's two people that she doesn't know, a woman and a man, who are standing there, but they're not they're close together, but they don't seem to be together.
Mm.
And the woman all of a sudden yells, um, "I've been stung by a bee. I'm allergic, oh, I need help." And so Mrs. White, who is the head of the historic museum, is standing there, and she goes, "Oh, Mac, come over here and help," because she thinks Mac can just do everything.
Everything.
And uh, so Mac goes over there, and they get her over to a bench, and she does help her. And that does and that's the kind of the inciting incident.
Mhm.
That's what gets her into this thing, because once you use an EpiPen, which is what Mac does, you have to take the person to the emergency room. That's what has to happen.
Okay.
And so they call the ambulance, and they're going to take her to the emergency room. And when Mac turns around to get her overnight bag, she realizes that it's gone.
Oh.
And so that's what throws her into this mystery then.
Mm.
So I always try to think of, what can happen to Mac that can throw her into that mystery.
Uh,
And so then it goes from there. And I don't know, and the rest, it's funny because I don't um I don't really know, what it's like. I have to think about, well, what could happen? And then it's like I I was thinking about this, and I thought, I don't these things, the Lord it must really be God, because he just kind of these ideas just kind of come to me.
uh-huh.
And then it's like, I'm like, okay, well, oh, okay. Oh, and then this, and then this. And then she finds the bag, and the stuffed in the in the trash can in the parking lot, and so then she and her sister are gonna take it to the emergency room for the lady, and when they get it to her, she's like, oh, she's so excited because she found the bag, and she said, oh, thank you, you have no idea, I needed this bag. And then she looks inside and she goes, oh no, it's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh,
And so then that's how it all starts. And
yeah.
so
It's a
it
very strong opening, very strong
and
opening.
so it's just, you get into, and it's just very, it's like, there you are.
There you are. I love it. I love it. I love to see how your brain works. I love to see your process because I don't think people understand. I think a lot of people think writers just sit down and everything just comes just pouring out of them. And they don't realize there's so many things that have to happen. Like, I didn't know you had to go to the hospital if you use the EpiPen, right? So
Yeah,
that's stuff that you have to
right.
make me aware of. But how it when you do, then that brings you an opening of, something
Yeah,
else. So I
right,
love hearing the process. And that's one of the reasons why I love doing these script talks because I want to hear the story behind the story. I want to hear how you brought
right,
this story to life because that just
right,
makes it more real when I'm reading it on the page. And I hope
right.
an audience listeners will feel that way too. So um, okay, so the book also features a manuscript that mirrors some real life murders. So what
Yeah.
drew you, which I absolutely love because I was sick, as people can tell from my little coughing hiff right there. I was sick and all I could do was sit on the couch and two I watched a murder documentary, a missing case documentary. I watched a movie about murder. I'm into real life
Oh
cases
yeah, me
right now,
too.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, one that mirrors real life murders. I am all over this. So, what drew you to the story within a story kind of concept?
Well, I've seen a couple of different uh uh fictional murder mysteries
Uh-huh.
where they have the murder follow the manuscript
Right.
of somebody.
Yeah.
And I just think they're to me that's really fascinating. Of course, being a
Sure.
writer, it's like I think about that. And
Yeah.
so I thought I just liked the idea.
Hmm.
And the first thing I thought about was, because I'm a pantser, I'm just like, okay. So when she opens the case and she says, "Oh no, it's gone," I'm thinking, what's going to be in there that could be gone that's
Right.
valuable, that's going to,
Yeah.
and she's thinking, I'm dead. I'm dead. I can't, you might as well have let me die. I can't, because that's what she's saying to Mac, this
Yeah.
gal. And she says, "Oh, you might as well have let me die because it's gone, it's missing." And some, and then they find out it's a manuscript, but I had to think, was it going to be jewels? Was it going to be, it had to be something valuable
Mm.
that is missing out of that case. And I thought, how about a manuscript? That would be cool. And then they had to think about, why would a manuscript be worth killing over
Right.
or
Yeah.
stealing, or, what would be in a manuscript that would be worth stealing?
Yeah.
And so then it was like, and then that's what leads to all this whole convoluted idea of, then you start to see these murders happening that are mirroring what's in the book.
Ah, love it.
And so I did have to think of a story for the
Yeah,
book too.
that was like, yeah,
It's
that's
like,
a whole other thing you had to come up. You had to
now
come
I
up
got to
with
think of
two books.
another story. So,
Yeah,
but
two books in one.
yeah, so it was pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
actually, the one that was in the book, the book within the book,
Uh-huh.
I probably had to be more. I tend not to be, very structured with my own books,
Uh-huh.
but I had to be more structured with the book that was within the book than I am with the book that I was writing, because it had to be like, okay, I have to know what's going on with the book in the book,
Sure.
because otherwise I'm not going to know what's happening outside
Yeah. I
here.
mean, I don't
So,
think people understand the depths that we will go to as an
oh
author
yeah.
to
Oh
make
yeah.
sure that yeah, I mean, that's a level of commitment there, honestly, that I already admire you, but that just takes it to a whole nother level because that is
Oh,
not easy to do.
every time you hit, you hit these points and you go, oh, wait a minute, I got to figure this one out, or I would have to call, a I have a police officer in Washington, Missouri on speed dial. And I'll call him and say, "Hey, do you think this could happen? Or would this be, does this make sense?" And he'll tell me yes or no.
Oh, that's always good to have in your back pocket.
It is. It is. He's a good guy. He's a
Yeah.
good guy. So
Wow, that's just another layer to the story.
it is.
So let's talk about a few more layers. Let's just keep peeling them away.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jake and obviously the title of this book, The Other Brother, because Jake
Yeah.
discovers he may have a brother he never knew existed.
Right.
That's not just a plot twist. That's like you've got some real emotional challenges to deal
Yes.
with this. So, how does this revelation affect and challenge him?
It's a great challenge to him. He is, he's the detective in this book.
Hmm.
And so for him, it's not only because now this other brother is supposedly missing.
Mm,
The how they find out is the girlfriend shows up on their door on the doorstep
mm,
and says, I'm the girlfriend of Greg, your other brother, and he's missing, and we need to find him. I thought he would come here because this is where he told me his sister lives, and so Samantha, which is um, Mac's best friend and her partner,
uh-huh.
and Jake are brother and sister,
Gotcha. Hmm.
and when Jake finds out, he is really, he's angry,
Mm,
and he's depressed. He's thinking, why didn't our parents tell us about
mm,
this?
yeah.
Uh, what happened here? What is going on? It's really hard for him. And and he's trying to accept it, but it's very difficult for him.
Yeah.
And so it really affects his relationship with Mac, which they're engaged, and it's very hard for him. It's like he has to put aside everything else in his life and really concentrate on trying to find this guy, and also to accept the fact that he may be his brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that he may have this brother.
Mhm. And so how do you, I mean, obviously, I mean, that was going to be my next question. How does their relationship, evolve into that strain? And obviously it's very hard, but how do you keep adding conflict to the couple so that their storyline doesn't become predictable?
Well, so that's one way, was that she Mac feels very, very much on the outside. She feels like her best friend, um, is is because Sam has just had a baby too.
Okay.
And so when this girl shows up, she has a little toddler.
Mm,
And so Sam feels like um, Sam and Mac feels like Sam and Jake are gravitating towards this girl with this toddler, and she's kind of been pushed to the outside.
mm,
And so she's feeling very, it's like, wait a minute, I'm engaged to your brother. I'm part of the family, but now I feel like I'm on the outside.
yeah.
Because she feels like Sam and this young woman now have this connection through the children,
Right.
and she feels like Jake has a connection through her because he's got this nephew.
Mm,
And so she just feels really on the outside, and that's why she's invited her sister to come,
mm.
because her sister is a psychologist,
Oh,
and
okay.
she needs her to come and help her. She's like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
And so her sister comes, and she's going to help her deal with it. Well, but so she's really having a hard time. She's struggling with it. She feels like Jake no longer, like maybe their whole their whole relationship is on very shaky ground.
Mm.
And that her whole life is like, here her best friend is kind of like, maybe her best friend is not her best friend any longer, and like maybe she doesn't want to be in a partner in the business any longer, and the whole thing is falling apart. And luckily, of course, that doesn't happen, but that's what we do. And so the relationship between her and Jake goes through this whole turmoil. And then even after that, when they finally realize that you know, Jake and Sam also have misgivings about what's going on,
Yeah.
and whether this is really their brother, what's going on, what's who, and they kind of feel fun, are bringing Mac back in. He Then it turns out that the brother is somehow in. Well, okay. Mac gets and Sam get they get um, the author of this manuscript asked them to come and find the manuscript to see who stole the manuscript. And Mac thinks this is going to like take her away from all this. This is going to kind of give her something to concentrate on.
Yeah.
But what happens is you find out,
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, that actually the missing brother and the manuscript end up being
Tied
uh,
together. Interesting.
tied together. And
Oh.
so then the brother becomes one of the suspects.
Oh.
And then you have a whole new
Yeah.
problem here,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then it's like, if he's one of the suspects, then what happens
How do you
between
handle
him and
that?
Jake?
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Yeah.
So
So how did you make Matt going through all of these problems, right? Thinking, well, now I've lost my best friend and I'm jealous about my boyfriend and his new relationship with this girlfriend and the nephew and maybe we should just go our separate ways. It would be really easy for her to become unlikable to a reader. How did you balance that so that she could have those feelings? Because we do have those feelings,
right,
right? We want her to seem like a real person because to us she is.
right.
But how do you balance that so that she's not um unlikable, but I'm sorry, there's a fly. I've got a cough fly. How do you make it so she's not unlikable? Does that make sense? I mean, how do you balance
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I try to show both people,
Hmm.
all the people in the book actually, as as let's see, I wrote something down here. Let me see if I can find it. I try to show each side of the conflict
Mm.
as reasonable, um, as a reasonable outcome
Uh-huh.
of where he or she is coming from. So they like when you you see that where Mac is coming from and where Jake's coming from as being, you can relate to that. You can relate to that. You can see that she would, how you can understand how she would feel that way. You
Yeah.
can understand how Jake would feel that way. You
Yeah.
can understand how Sam would feel the way she is. And so you kind of, it's not that any of them are feeling out of, like, you can't look at any of them and say, oh, well, that they're being ridiculous.
Yeah.
You look at all of them and say, okay, I mean, I understand that. And so it's just one of those situations where you can't, there's no wrong answer, but
Hmm.
there's no right answer.
Yeah.
And so you try to just make them see, all of them seem reasonable from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And so then they're people.
Yeah.
And then also you bring in that they are all believers.
Hmm.
And so they're all trying to follow the right way
Sure.
and do what's right, but they just it's like, but what is right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is right?
Yeah. Well, I think you handle it beautifully. And I think that by doing it the way you did allows readers to go, okay, yeah, this is a really tough situation, but
Yeah.
she handled it, with grace and understanding. And that just hopefully will resonate with readers when they're facing similar, conflicts in their
Mhm.
own life to not become unlikable, but to handle it in a similar, fashion. So I
Mhm.
think that's really, really
Well,
good.
thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about your supporting characters because we know that we have to have these supporting
Yeah.
cast members to bring the story to
Oh, yeah.
to the fullness of it. So let's talk about Sam and Mrs. Me because they play very important roles in solving the mystery. What do
Yes.
they bring to the team dynamic in this particular story?
Well, Miss P, she always brings that she is logic
Mm,
and she is when things start getting a little out of hand and a little crazy, she brings them back.
yeah.
And I really like her. I like Miss P. I like writing her because she's just real like, down to she's just like, wait a minute, whoa, hang on, come
Yeah.
back. We've got to get back to the facts. Let's look at this. That's all well and good, but we got to do this. And so she is the one that just kind of reins everything in and is very, very logical.
Mhm.
And so because she's the former chemistry teacher, she's the one who's going to think, in kind of a scientific manner, and let's just the facts, ma'am,
Right.
and so it's like, so she's going to go back to that. And so I really like that because she pulls them back to that
Yeah.
when they're starting to go, off in directions. And Sam is she is the heart of the group.
Mm,
She's the one who has the kindness, the grace, the forgiveness. She's the one, like when Mac is getting all, because Mac can get angry.
mm,
Mac can get, she can, uh, Mac has a temper
mm.
and I mean, she can kind of, flare.
Right.
And Sam will bring her back down to, Sam is the one who kind of calms things down
Yeah.
and just brings things down and has a real good heart. And she tends to, now in this book, the only thing is she's got that new baby and
Mm,
boy, she's very protective of that new baby. And
mm.
you see that and protective of her family.
Yeah.
So you do see that, and that comes out in her.
Yeah.
And so she acts a little different in this book than she would in some of the other books. She's got the hormones going on a little bit, and she acts a little different in this book.
Yeah, well, I mean, we always want to see our characters evolving, right?
Right,
Just
right,
the same the whole time, right? We want to see them
right,
go and shift and change. And again, I think it's so important that it resonate with our readers because women do that, right? When they have
right,
a baby, they go through these emotional changes. And
right,
how does that affect their relationships with others? And when they've been the calming part, right? How does that affect things? So
right.
yeah, I think readers will really identify with that if they've
Mhm.
that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I think
So
so.
when when do you decide to reveal clues and when do you hold them back?
Um, that I was thinking about that. I used to be reveal clues a lot earlier, and now I've learned to just really be to hold back on clues.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's funny. Sometimes I look at word count. I look at where I am and I think, no, this is too early.
Ah, okay.
I need to hold that back. I need to hold that back for a while. Um, because I think, and I think, no, I got to hold that back till this certain time. And so that is some of the things that I'll do. but I do that because I've learned it's kind I don't know how to say it. It's kind of it's something that you learn as you write more.
Hmm.
That you learn when to uh pacing. It's kind of a pacing thing.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to get you have to and after you write so many books, you learn how to pace your things out
Yeah.
and how to now you want every I try, let's put it this way, every chapter to end with a hook.
Sure.
And then I start the next chapter with, a little bit of a drama too.
Yeah.
And then so I have to think as I'm coming up to the end, what would make a good like leave them with like, well, I can't stop here. I have to read the next, I have to
Right. Yeah.
start the next chapter. And so but you have to, but it doesn't have to be anything really big.
Uh-huh.
It can be just a little something. It can be just somebody calling them and saying, uh, I've got something to tell you,
Mm.
and then the person has to go, well, I've got to read the next chapter and see what they've got to tell me, that kind of thing.
Don't worry, I
So
don't need to sleep. I just need to read.
yeah, so, well, I got to at least read, see what they've got to tell them.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. So I think you learn how to make your clues, um, to spread your clues out, and you learn how to make your things less dramatic. I don't know how to put it. It's
Yeah.
like you just give them littler bites,
Yeah.
smaller bites, and then spread them out more.
Yeah. Some
And
breadcrumbs, right? That you
yeah,
just
breadcrumbs, that's right.
breadcrumbs. Yeah.
And
All
you
right.
learn how to do that. And then at a certain point, you say, okay, now I'm at this many words. Now I give them a big one.
Okay. All right. So,
So,
so for somebody who's a pantser, which means if you don't know that, you just, go right by the seat of your pants,
right.
you seem to be a little bit of a plotter because
I
you're,
am a little bit of a plotter, yes,
yeah, yeah,
because like the book that I'm writing now, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the word count and I'm thinking, no, I don't want this to happen yet. I gotta wait, I've got to hold it off. So I'm gonna have to write so that I hold it off till it's to this point.
yeah.
And then so yeah, I am a little bit of a plotter. Well, I've learned I have to be
Uh-huh.
because there was one book I was writing a long time ago. And I was writing and writing and writing and writing. And all of a sudden, I wrote myself into an absolute, I mean, I couldn't, that was it. I was at the end. I couldn't get in. I was in a corner and I had to back out 20,000 words.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ouch.
which is a lot of words. And I backed out. I had to back out and start down a whole new track. And so once I did that, I thought I can't be a total pantser from now on.
Yeah,
And so I have to think somehow a little bit away,
yeah,
I have to have it somehow a little bit along and
yeah,
before I can start the book.
yeah. Well, speaking of thinking ahead, let's talk about the ending,
Okay.
and what's next, because that ending uh, could make some people very nervous. What do you have to say about that? Of course, you don't want to give anything away, but
Well, yeah, I know it's hard to talk about the ending without giving it away. Um, well, they're on their honeymoon. They do get married, which that's not a big deal because you know that they're engaged. So, you pretty much know that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not going to have them go their separate ways at the end. I
sure,
mean,
right?
no,
Because people would be
that's
afraid
not
to
going to
look
happen.
at you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they're on their honeymoon and something happens. And so while they're back in Washington, while they're on their honeymoon. And so when they come home, it's going to be a shockaroo for them. And that's how my next book is going to then start up. It's like,
Okay.
oh, she walks back into a mess already.
Right.
So,
So there will be
and
more Mac and Samson,
well, there's going to be at least one.
at least
Yeah.
one. All
And
right.
this one's going to be it's going to be different.
Oh,
Because it's going to actually, and I will tell you this, it's going to bring in characters from my first series.
Uh,
I'm going to take characters from my first series from um, Trouble in Pleasant Valley.
uh-huh.
I'm going to bring them down to Washington,
Uh,
and the two are going to work together on a case.
oh, love it. It's like a TV crossover when you've got people from
Right,
this episode going into Chicago PD from the medical thing and
right,
so
right.
a crossover, a book
So it's going to be a
crossover.
crossover.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do that.
All right. So now people need to read all of the Mac and Sam series
All
and
right.
they need to go and read the
And
Trouble in Pleasant Valley series. Very smart marketing there, my friend.
yeah, so
Well, that's
ac-
exciting. That's exciting. It gives us something to look forward to. Most definitely. I like it. I like it a lot. So, um, when they've closed the book on Mac and Sam and,
yep.
try to get over the shell shock of what happens on their honeymoon, what is it you want them to take away when they're finished reading?
Um, I hope that in all of my books, and not just this Mac and Sam, but in all of my books, that they will take away um, the fact that my protagonists rely on God,
Hmm.
that they rely on them for their strength and they rely on them for their direction,
Hmm.
and that they understand that they can't do on their own. They realize it. I mean, they just are so aware that they don't have their abilities and things that they have to. It all comes from God.
Yeah.
And so I hope that that's what they take away from my books is, and I'm not trying to be preachy, but I hope that they just see that
Yeah.
just in the small ways that I have them, turn to prayer and hear the little voices
Right.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Not the scary, weird voices, but
no, no,
Holy
yeah,
Spirit
no,
voice.
the little voice, yeah, the little voice that comes and says that down inside, that
Yeah.
deep inside, that
Yeah.
that talks to us
Yeah.
and tells
That's
us.
awesome. Yeah. That's great.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm very excited for you to have another Mac and Sam, and I'm very excited that we're going to have another one. So, well, I will be looking forward to when that one will come out and we get to sit down and chat some more about where these wonderful characters are going and how you are crafting their little world with, evil, but overcoming that evil with good.
right, right.
Very important. So before I let you say goodbye, how can our readers connect with you? How can they find more about Deborah Sprinkle and all of her wonderful writing?
Well, I have a website, and I've actually updated that website.
Huh?
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Which I'm getting better at this stuff. And that's at www.authordeborahsprinkle.com.
Okay.
And I have a Facebook page. I have the just a regular Facebook page. It's just me. And then I also have one that's Deborah Sprinkle author.
Okay.
So
All right.
so you can look at either one of those. And I'm on BookBub and Pinterest and on Goodreads too.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Okay.
so
And they can also follow you on Amazon so that they will know
yes.
when the next book comes out. And so the case of the
Right.
other brother will be out in March. And so we
Yeah.
hope that you will take some time to read that as well as all the other books in the series. So, Deb, thanks so much for joining us again. The
Thank
case of
you.
the other brother is layered, suspenseful, and filled with emotional complexity. And I know our readers are going to enjoy unraveling every twist. So,
Thank you.
all right. Well, thanks so much to everyone who's been listening or watching this ScrivTalk episode. We love giving you a behind the scenes glimpse into the stories you love and the hearts behind them. So we hope you will follow along by liking and subscribing to our channel so you never miss any of our wonderful Scrivenings Press author interviews. Please be sure to check out Deborah Sprinkle's latest book, follow her online for updates and what's coming next. And of course, everything will be listed in the description below. So we'll be back with another wonderful author soon and the story behind their story. So until next time, happy reading. Bye bye.
Thank you.